Hey y'all, my name is Katie if you don't already know me, and welcome to my channel. It's kind of weird to say that, but I feel like I should have some kind of intro, I guess, since this is officially on YouTube. Wasn't what I was gonna do with this, but here we are. At the end of my last video, I talked about going to rehab for the first time. I loved rehab. I truly enjoyed it. I made friends, and I really wasn't on Suboxone maintenance, but for a few days in there. I don't know what it was. I just felt good. What I wasn't ready for was what happened when I got out of rehab. Um, Now, when I went to rehab, Chris had my car, my phone, any dollar I had to my name, any possession I had to my name, and of course, we lived together. Well, when I'm in rehab and I'm talking to my counselors and my doctor, doing the right thing, and I really want it, I was honest with them and told them that I lived with 3 other addicts, one in which was my boyfriend. So they decided they were going to release me early. The stipulation was that Chris could not pick me up. Um, I had also met a boy who I was kind of like flirting with in the rehab. Uh, you know, so I had stopped returning Chris's phone calls when I was in rehab anyways. I really had all intentions of getting out, and I don't know if I was even going to have a relationship with this guy. I don't think I really expected it, but I think I was really hoping to stay in touch with him. Um, anyway, that's not important. So when I got out, my mother ended up picking me up. And she did. She come and got me. And I remember I wanted a cigarette so bad because I was in rehab chewing on straws, y'all. I wanted a cigarette so bad. To this day, people will say, "Oh, you should quit smoking cigarettes." And I'm like, I got off cocaine and heroin. You can take a seat because I'm going to smoke my cigarette. Like, I don't know what it is. So I remember my mom getting me a pack of cigarettes, and I remember hitting that first cigarette and being like, ugh. Tasted disgusting because I hadn't smoked in, a couple of weeks at this point. Um, so anyway, I went to rehab in Rolling Hills, which is in Franklin, Tennessee. So when I got out, my mother lived in Clarksville. So I'm essentially 2 hours from my mother's house. So she picks me up and drives me home. The whole way there I'm going through my rehab packet, and I'm looking at the picture of when I first got in there, how terrible I looked, and my exit picture. I think I still have my rehab picture, and if I can find that, I will insert that here. Just so you can see what I looked like um, when I went to rehab the first time. I have a few pictures, and as the story goes on, I'll start inserting them. I get to my mother's house, and my mom had a boyfriend at the time who I did not like. We did not get along. He was an alcoholic and smoked weed and, did other unmentionables here and there. So when I got out of rehab, I went to my mother's house, and her boyfriend's there. Oh, goodness. And I remember she was giving me my younger sister's old bedroom because my sister was no longer living with her. I was so happy to be there and just have my TV and an actual bed, y'all. Going to rehab is like sleeping on a jail bed for real. You get a little big mattress in the detox unit anyway. Now, when you get to the actual rehab after you detox, that's when it's beautiful and nice and this, that, and the third. But no. So anyway, I'm rambling. I was so excited to have a bed. Um, and a TV and everything, and get to be with my family and get to be back home. I've been in Nashville for months at this point and chasing dope, so I hadn't um, been around anyone, but really seen anybody. So I was so happy to be there. But I knew when I got there, my mother was not in the best place because I could tell. But when we got there, how she acted and how I just kind of like went off to my room and was like to myself. Um, it was odd. So my sister decided to come and visit me. Now, my sister was staying with my grandmother in Kentucky, so it was like 30 minutes. She drove to come see me, and my sister was smoking weed at the time. So my sister gets there, and she had gotten high, and then she came in to see me and talk to me. And my mom's boyfriend come down the hallway, and I guess he smelled it on my sister or something, and he was like, "You really are something. You're a real piece of fucking work. You ain't gonna amount to shit. You just got out of rehab to walk in my house and get high. You ain't nothing but a no good fucking junkie thief." Da 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 da. Right? And I'm like, the fuck, y'all. I'm a few weeks sober at this point, and I had figured out my triggers and worked on things, but I was not prepared to have a grown ass man telling me I wasn't shit and I was nothing but a no good junkie and I was never going to be shit. So he tells me all this, right? My sister already isn't living in this house at the time because of him and that type shit. So my sister's like, I'm out. Like, I don't have to be here. I'm not going to be here. And I remember my sister, and I love you so much, and this is not your fault, so don't feel guilty. But I remember my sister saying, I'm so sorry, but I have to go. I have to go. I just can't. Are you going to be okay? Are you going to be okay? And I'm like, yeah, you know what? Just go. Knowing I'm waiting for now, my mind's, I'm like, oh no, I'm out too. Like, you're finna go. Mom's about to go to her room. They're about to go to bed here in the next hour or so. In that time, somebody can be here from Chris, can be in my car to come pick me up, and I'm going back to Nashville, and I'm finna get high. Since I ain't shit and I ain't never gonna be shit, cool. That's what I'll do then. And it's so sad for me to look back on that. And I'm ashamed of it, but I want to be forthcoming with you guys on this channel. It's important to me. Um, and I know that people who are struggling with addiction or have struggled with addiction can relate. So I'm using my mom's phone, y'all, because I don't have my phone, I don't have my car, I don't have nothing. And I'll call Chris. And he's like, not answering at first. So I text him and I say, hey, it's me, answer. So he answers the phone and he was like, when were you going to tell me you were out of rehab? And I'm like, well, I explained to him my mom had to come get me because they wouldn't let him pick me up. So he's pissed. But I'm like, look, I ain't got time to argue with you. You need to come get me. And he was like, well, I'm waiting on the dope man. I said, that's cool. We can go to him when we get back. And he's like, what? But hey, he's in active addiction himself. I don't blame him either. And he had my car and my phone. What was he going to do? Not come get me? So I packed my bag back up that I just got out of rehab with, and I'm waiting for him. I'm looking out the window, looking out the window, looking out the window. And when I see my Corolla pull up, I'm out that door so fast, I didn't say a word to my mother. I don't blame my mother for this. I don't even blame her ex-boyfriend for this. Um, you know, I take full responsibility for my addiction and the decisions that I made. And y'all probably hear me say that a million times between this story and all the different little story times I have that correlate. So, I left that night and I relapsed for the first time. Y'all, I so badly wanted that to work. I so badly wanted to be sober. But when I realized that said to me, made me realize that that's what people thought of me. Everybody that knew. And I thought, well, if I already lost my baby and I don't have the child that I wanted, and now I've lost my family, this is what people think of me, so fuck it, for real. Um, so yeah, I left that night and I relapsed, and for the next few weeks, I panhandled and chased money. The same thing I was doing before I went to rehab. And y'all, I landed homeless 2 weeks later. So if I thought that I had hit rock bottom before I went to rehab and that was bad, shit, I had no idea what rock bottom was yet. And I, landed homeless. And believe it or not, this still wasn't my rock bottom. I remember the day that we decided we would lose the apartment. We were all chasing money. We were trying to figure out how much dope we could get and if we could pay the rent. Me and Shay are going through the apartment, collecting things to pawn, to sell, getting every little bit of money we can. The boys are working. They're moving houses, making money that day, stealing, pickpocketing people that they're moving. Um, and we all get together that afternoon when they get off and are like, okay, so rent is da 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 da. All right, so we knew we were going to get locked out around 5 o'clock. So me and Shay had packed up some of the like important things. And we were waiting on the boys to get home so we could all get together and decide if we had enough and what we were going to do. Because Lord knows we weren't going to go sick. And truthfully, Shay and her baby daddy had somewhere to stay. Chris and I did not. So, you know, really, we were the only ones really losing something here. You know what I mean? Like, they lost the apartment too, but they had a bed to lay in. You know what I'm saying? So, really, it was kind of up to me and Chris. And lo and behold, all that money I had been ripping and running all day trying to make, I lost my wallet, y'all. It's not in my car, not in the apartment, not in any pawn shop I had been to, nothing. My wallet is gone. And I had like a few $100s in there. Addiction is a motherfucker for real. Now we're living out of my 2015 Toyota Corolla. Um, I remember sleeping in there for the first night and being scared. It's really uneasy to sleep in the middle of Nashville in a car. Um, we weren't in a bad area per se, but ugh, you know what I mean? There's just not the protection of a home. And I remember it being hot and trying to sleep with the windows down, turning the car on to turn the air on in the middle of the night, and waking up feeling so like sweaty and ugh. I remember that feeling on my skin waking up and um, knowing I had sweat all night in my sleep. So now I'm doing exactly what I didn't want to do. That I mean, what was rock bottom to me to send me to rehab is now my daily hustle. That's my life. So I'm panhandling. I'm holding signs, y'all, homeless signs, to collect money. And let me tell you something. That is very shameful. I am so ashamed that I've done that. But let me tell you what. I made more honestly holding a sign than I did working any 9 to 5. For real. Hundreds of dollars a day in a busy city like that. Tax-free money come to my hand every day. I was getting hotel rooms with it. Really, I was getting as much dope as I could with it. Putting gas in my car. I mean, I was like, if I had really committed to this when we were in the apartment, I really wouldn't be homeless, and that's sad. And so I say, if you want to help someone who's homeless, do it, but don't give them a bunch of cash. Just don't. Gift cards, whatever you feel that you got to do, but just don't give them a bunch of cash. I mean, I don't want to say everyone, but everyone that I met when I was homeless was on dope. Everybody. You know, it's sad, but the next big event that I can recall at this time frame was um we had this one drug dealer, right? And Chris and I had met him back when we were living in Kentucky. And he was for real, the reason like we were willing to drive to Nashville every day and move there because the dope was good. It was just that fire. And there was nothing like that in this area. Like, I don't know what it is about Tennessee and this area. I ain't never caught dope in Kentucky. For real, I never have. Hmm. But he was from upstate, and that dope was fire. So that was essentially the dope that was good enough to make us move to Nashville. So I remember he went out of town, right? The drug dealer went out of town, and he had a friend who lived like way closer than he did. So we were like, shit. He left some dope with his friend, and he was like, hey, um, Fat Boy's gonna take care of you. That's literally what we called him. Fat Boy's gonna take care of you while I'm out of town. Not sure when I'll be back, but he's got you. Okay, cool. So he did. He left. He was out of town, and um, that was really weird, y'all. As I'm talking about this, my Google popped up on my phone and was recording what I was saying. Okay. So, I mean, this already happened. I ain't telling nothing new. So I'll just continue. So anyway, we're like, cool, whatever. Fat Boy lives 10 minutes down the road. You live 40 minutes away. So, cool. So the only thing about Fat Boy is he wouldn't really fuck with us with like fronts and things of that nature. Because he didn't know us like that, which got him robbed a couple times by me and Chris. And not only did we rob him, but the original dope dude made him continue to sell to us after we robbed him without paying him back. Y'all, I'm telling you, I was, I was, I was not the one. I was the two. Dude, Fat Boy. So, Fat Boy, has the dope, whatever. So after we rob him, time goes by, and we're going every day. We go to Fat Boys. We go to Fat Boys in the morning. We go to Fat Boys in the afternoon. And we go to Fat Boys at night. Okay, and he knows we're coming all 3 times a day. Now sometimes he was hard to catch in the morning, so we'd only go in the afternoon and at night. But we was going at least twice a day, and we were copping hundreds of dollars in dope. Okay. Well, this day we had gotten something in the morning, and me and Shay panhandled with me too, even though she wasn't homeless. She played the game. Okay, so me and Shay panhandled that day, got all of our money together, had gotten Chris and her baby daddy, and we all got in the car. Okay, and we were going to Fat Boy's house. So we're calling and calling and calling, and nobody's picking up the phone. We can't get a hold of our original dude, and we can't get a hold of Fat Boy. No, no, no. Let me back that up. We had called and told Fat Boy how much we needed. Told him we were going to call him back and let him know when we were on the way. We all pile in the car because, y'all, we were so bad, even though it was like 20 minutes back and forth, like 10 there and 10 back. We all would pile up in the car and go together so we could do the shit as soon as we got it, because we couldn't wait 10 minutes to get back to, well, where Shay and her baby daddy were living. And we were just parking in the driveway and sleeping in the car. So, anyway, we all go to get in the car, and we're calling and calling and calling, and he's not picking up. This has happened before, and we just showed up. And like I said, we see him several times a day, so it ain't nothing to him. He's like, oh, okay, here you go. Done. Um, but sometimes he will want us to call because he'll want us to get him some cupcakes and some Rellos on the way there. And I wish that was a joke. We called him Fat Boy for a reason, y'all. So, um, so we're calling and calling and calling. He's not answering. So we're like, all right, fuck it, we'll just go. We head down there. We go to pull up. We drop Chris off at the entrance of his subdivision because Chris was the only person who could not physically go back there after we kept robbing him. Said he would still serve me and Shay. Shay's baby daddy never did anything, and neither did Shay. He would still serve me, technically, because me and Chris were the only ones that had robbed him, but he wouldn't fuck with Chris anymore. So, anyway, we dropped Chris off at the entrance of the subdivision. And so we drive down to his house, which is only like 2, 3 streets into the subdivision. Turn in, and we're looking at the house, and his car is there, and the front door is open, and like it had the screen door with the front door open so we could see in. So we knew he was home. Okay, he usually like kicked it like that. So we pull in, y'all. I pull in, go to put the car in park, and I'm getting my money out and giving it to Shay so she could just run in and run out. And I shit y'all not, I look up and I see the motherfucking SWAT team through the door. And I'm like, I just remember freezing. And they run out, guns drawn at the car, and they're like, take the keys out of the ignition, take the keys out of the ignition. So I'm like, oh, and I take the keys out of the ignition. They're like, put them on the dash, put them on the dash. So I drop my keys on the dash, not like put my hands up. We all have to put our hands up. They're telling us that we all need to get out the car. So we do. We all get out the car. And we're standing there, we're freaking out because we realize we just pulled up to a drug bust. They were there to bust the house. And of all the motherfuckers that could be pulling up trying to buy dope at this time, it had to be us, right? Y'all, my God. I was so freaked out because at this point I have never been to jail yet. At this point, yeah, I had not ever been to jail. And all I can think of is, oh my God, I'm about to go to jail. I'm about to catch my first charge and I'm about to detox in jail. Oh, I was so irritated. And at this point, I'm thinking, fuck, I wish I would have stayed sober. Chris is walking around the neighborhood trying to figure out where we're at because it didn't take us 5 minutes to cop the dope and pick him back up. So he walks around and he sees now that I've pulled up and they got us all out, all the undercover cop cars come and block my car in. Y'all, we end up seeing Fat Boy through the door. He's telling them that he don't know us like that. We're telling them that we were there because we're friends with him. They ask us his name when me and Shay are calling him Fat Boy. And the the cop was like, "You serious? That's what y'all call him?" We were like, "Yeah, for real. That's what we call him." So the cops were actually really cool. Um, They ended up giving us tickets for the paraphernalia in the car. Of course, the cook spoons and needles. Actually, at this time, I think they had just passed that thing where you couldn't get charged for needles anymore. So we just got charged with the cook spoons, and I got charged with a straw I had cut that had been in there for God knows how long since I've been snorting. So yeah, we all get off with our little tickets, and Shay's baby daddy had a warrant at this point in time. Y'all, by the grace of God, he didn't get caught up on that warrant. They ran his name, ran all of our names, came back with nothing, told us if we didn't have warrants, they were going to let us go, and they did. They wrote us tickets and let us go. And whatever happened to Fat Boy, I don't know. We got by the skin of our teeth on that one. And they knew we were there to get dope. As they started searching us, they're pulling stuff out of our pockets, right? Shay's got all the money on her, and she has slipped it in her back pocket. They pull out a wad of cash like this, right? Because we're panhandling. So a lot of it's tens and fives and 20s, right? We have hundreds of dollars, but it's in a stack like this in her pocket. And they pull it out, and it's this stack of cash. And he said, and he puts it on the hood of my car underneath my windshield wiper. He put the money there. They didn't confiscate the money because they knew it was for drugs, but really, they didn't catch us in a hand-to-hand action, so there was nothing they could do about it. But the cops did tell us, we're like, we knew somebody was coming because when we came up, he didn't have any dope out but the dope that he had sitting on the table in his living room. And I bet that that was for y'all. We're like, man, I don't know what you're talking about. Even though they're wrapping up all of our, what you call it, bags with the evidence in them. After we're signing off on all these little evidence bags, we're like, not mine. I swear, y'all, addicts, we will lie and lie till the cows come home. We don't give a fuck. We don't. Addicts have no give a fuck. Oh, goodness. So, yeah, I remember that. And I'm not glamorizing that at all. It's not cool. It's just easy for me to look back and kind of laugh at, however embarrassing it might be. I got by the skin of my teeth on that one, and I am just so thankful somebody's watching over me because, man, I made it out of some stuff. Um, so I think I'm going to wrap this one up right here, guys. And in the next one, I'll continue to talk about me being homeless and where we go from here. Okay.